What is going on, people? We are seeing a massive pump in the cryptocurrency market here. Let's take a quick look here as hopefully we see a few people come in. I don't particularly do a lot of lives. I think I've only done one, and it was an interview with a project that I was looking at a couple years ago. But yeah, Bitcoin's up, marginally less than 1% today, 0.64%. But getting closer to that all-time high above just under $109,000. I think it's 108,786. I put up my weekly newsletter this morning that I've been doing now for the last 249 weeks. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Patreon.com/RL Bryer. But yeah, this market is absolutely ripping right now. Ethereum, this is really what's changed. I think we'll get into it a little bit further here in a little bit, but Bitcoin dominance has finally peaked out, I think, and you can see that in the altcoins. Ethereum is up like $1,100 or more, 1150 now, I think, from the bottom, something like that. Maybe more, maybe a little bit more than that. I think it did dip under. Let's just check under $1,300 at the bottom here. What is this per market cap here, USD? Yeah, let's just check it out real fast. I prefer CoinGecko when we're looking at stuff like this. Did it dip below? Yeah, 1430 is showing here. I think it actually went a little bit lower on some exchanges, but yeah, right around $1,400. So even if we go by this 1430, we're up. Ethereum's up over $1,100, or yeah, $1,100 right now. So massive moves across this market right now. Everything's looking really good for the typical cycle that I've been trying to do my best to outline for everyone for a while now. How I think this is all going to play out. I don't know how familiar you are with anything that I've done in the past. If you aren't familiar with me, welcome here. This is what I work on all the time. This is let's see here. So I'm not super familiar with. Let's see. Can I share this? Yeah. This was a video that I put out last cycle. It was like 800 or 900 days in advance. So you can go back and look at it. The date's in the description before I call the top, like it's $65,000, like on nearly 3 years, and not quite 3 years, but years in advance. So go check it out if you're interested. It's on this page. This is the title: Bitcoin Bull Run will take us past 65,000. So I hit the first top, and then it did double top at 69K. But my cycle theory is this cycle. My theory for this cycle is that we're going to see the top around a conservative target of $130,000. Put that out in October of 2022. I believe it was October, Q4 2022, with Amelia Tomasicchio on her podcast. We were recording a podcast. I think it was for Nemesis in the Metaverse. And I put it out across my social media and stuff too. So everything's still looking really good. That's a conservative target. I think, wow, a lot has happened since we recorded that. And it definitely looks like we could be going a lot higher than that, and I'm okay with maybe missing that this time by a little bit. I think the second place on the charts that makes sense for us to top out will be $180,000. I think 130K and 180K are the two places that make the most sense to me. If we start seeing some massive short squeeze play that a lot of people were starting to talk about, which I don't put a lot of weight into that personally when I'm trying to come up with like a personal target. Like, nothing I ever say is financial advice, but if I'm coming up with a personal target, I'm doing this years and years out. So I'm not looking at necessarily shorts and how those are stacking up, because that's something that builds up over time. People start taking short positions maybe when these things mark down 60%, 70% to find local bottoms after running 500%. So it's like, if you're new to crypto, that's just part of the game. You have some of these um, historically five, seven, something like that, of these massive moves upward after retracing. We find a top in the bull market and we retrace on most alts 90+%. And then you see these runs. So like Solana got down to like $14, $15, I think, in the bear market, and it's $174 after just pulling back to 96 just a few weeks back. So things can happen very quickly in this space, and that's also why I put out this video. Let's see, where is it at? This video. Um, these two videos actually last about a month, 3 weeks or a month ago. What date is this?
I haven't recorded.
A month ago now, talking about how I was accumulating. You can check all this stuff out. I'm not going to play all these while we're on the live stream, but and also this one 2 weeks ago when nobody was really talking about whether we were pivoting yet or not. So check them out. I try to break down a lot of what I'm thinking about. As you know, it was like mass hysteria over the last few weeks, and then I also put out some really good tweets, in my opinion, to try to give us people, show people what I'm thinking about without really telling anyone ever what to do, because I think that's bad news. You don't want to get into ever trying to tell anybody what you're doing as far as investments. Sorry for the dirty room here. Wasn't really expecting to do this live, but I've been wanting to do it live for a while now. So yeah, but let's get further into what's going on here with the price action. Bitcoin up to 103,784. Like I said, just about 1% under, or up nearly 1%, not quite, I guess. Ethereum really pushing hard now, up almost 10% on the day, 9.62%, $2,566.87 in real time here as we stream. Solana kind of chilling a little bit today as far as what's going on with the other altcoins. A lot of them pumping hard. It already had a massive move, but I think the next place on the charts for Solana is like $190. So it should probably mark. It should. There's really nothing to prove anything on, but historically, the next spot to go up, there's probably not a lot of supply in between this level and where we just broke out. Probably about $190 coming in hot on Solana in the next week. I would say that's what I'm looking for. Chainlink at 1736, up 8.25%. AVAX finally starting to move again, up 10.61%, $25.61. DOT having a decent day, up 7.54%, $5.16. Litecoin back over $100, up 4.26%, $104.39. And I think the story of the day, this has been my favorite asset for the last few years. I've been really talking about what I think the Near team has been able to accomplish, and what they're building with AI, chain abstraction, probably the most scalable blockchain, in my opinion, in the entire space. I obviously work for Innoverse as well, but as far as a chain that's been around for a long time, Near Protocol is my favorite project outside of anything I'm working on personally. So I'm not here to show anything, but Near absolutely ripping the last 30 days, up 64.22%, 34.1% for the last 7 days, and up 13.36% today. You can see I was kind of telling people in my Patreon group, as I mentioned, it's patreon.com/RL Bryer, that you can sort of, it's hard to believe for people that haven't been here long. I put a lot of my content here, over almost 800 posts now, videos, Zooms, and static videos, trying to help everybody as much as possible. But like I said, I put my weekly newsletter out here every weekend, basically, almost. Friday, Saturday, Sunday it comes out. There's no set date. Whenever I get the time to put it out and make it, it's about 12 pages today, I think. So, but yeah, so I put that out here every week. Check it out. Join us. What I was going to say is, I was telling people in the Telegram, it's like you can see the where are we at? The price action. So let me share this screen again. You can begin to see. Sorry, I got to get back in the habit of switching windows. You can see that the days are starting to, you're going to start seeing, in my opinion, nothing is written in stone, that 40, 60 cent price moves in a day will probably become the norm again. And then as we get closer, we'll probably see $1 to $2 moves on assets like near, maybe. It's really hard for people that have not been in the space very long to really even comprehend that, but things towards the end of these cycles really start to heat up. So near was 100, or was a dollar, what, 60 or $1.55. I think it got down to, what did it get down to? Let's just pull it up. You have the internet here, so let's check out where near got down to most recently. I think CoinGecko must, I don't know where they pull their data, if it's aggregated, or where did this dot asset drop? Yeah, it seems like everything's kind of a little bit high, but I think it got down to like $1.60. It's saying $1.86 on here, but let's see what it got down to on here. Interesting. Saying about $1. I don't know. I know it got lower than that. It's weird how some of these sites aren't 100% accurate on, like, the charts. They feel like they don't nick the charts as well as they could. But anyway, nonetheless, even if you go, say it's $1.80, the assets, massively. What is that? 70%, 75% now. Even if it's wrong, I think it's more like 100%. Pretty sure near bottomed at around $1.60. So, well, I think it's up over 100% now. Actually, I think these real time wicks on here are a little bit off. So, yeah. So it's a little bit misleading on some of these assets. But yeah, so let's move on to look at some other ones here. Solana, as I mentioned, has just been on an absolute tear too. But let's see who's outperforming in the last 30 days. Near Solana. Near is up 63.47%, while Solana is up. Yeah. So Near's got it by about 7.5% right now. Not bad. Oh, sorry. I got to share these tabs. I keep forgetting. Yeah, so 55.72 versus 63.46. I think another thing to look at is when we've gone green now on the 1 hour, 24-hour, 7-day, 30-day, 90-day, just went green on near. When we erase this deficit here, or this 54% of red, that's when things are going to get really fun, in my opinion. When we can go green on a lot of these top 30, that is one thing. Solana held up better than almost any other alt during that downtrend. It is still green, so that's something interesting, that Solana really outperformed everything else. What is Bitcoin up now for the year? Bitcoin is still outperforming, and yeah, we can look at Bitcoin dominance now. Bitcoin has just been an absolute machine. for a few years now. You could have bought Bitcoin at the bottom of the last cycle at 15,550, and it's just hard to believe how well it's really marked up. Really, really impressive stuff. So let's move into. Is the chat turned on? What's up, Walter? How are you, sir? Good to see you, man. I haven't talked to you in a while. So let's move on to. I think I know who it is. Walter M. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's you. Maybe not. If it's you, give me another thumbs up if you're still here, man. So yeah, let's check out some other projects. Chainlink. What's Chainlink doing? Chainlink's up 44% for the last 30 days. It actually held up during that downtrend as well, fairly well. So 27% for the year, 28 if you round up there. So yeah, man, a lot of these alts really. It's funny how quickly things can look bullish again, and that's why I was putting out those videos in the tweet. It was like mass hysteria. Let me just pull up the one tweet real fast while we're on here, because it's like, nobody wants to believe it when it's doom and gloom. But yeah, I put out a tweet. Here it is on April 9th. It was like I think it was the absolute bottom. We can put it right here. So yeah, the absolute bottom here. This would almost certainly be the bottom for Bitcoin, and also without the externals. This was like during the midst of like the absolute hysteria over trade and stuff. However, at this point, honestly, what can't be priced in adding more? I bought like 5 times during this downtrend. So um, yeah, it's pretty. Yep, Walter, it's you. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, dude. So yeah, it's like mass hysteria at the bottom, and it's like, what do they say? Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. So Near is on an absolute tear today, though. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Let's look at a few more here, and then we'll look at Bitcoin dominance. I will say also that Monero has actually been performing super well. Considering the delistings and stuff, I think Monero, I talked about this in my newsletter today. I think Monero, look at Monero up 142%. It's doubled up Bitcoin. It's pretty much in a league of its own right now. And this is like coming off some major delistings. So I think people are starting to realize the value, as Europe and some of these other places aren't. They're like trying to be, hostile towards privacy coins as they clamp down on like individual, individuals and stuff, and like freedom and liberty, and it's like they want total control. We know that. But Monero, if we just look at what Monero has done, Monero didn't make a new all-time high last cycle. So if it comes up and makes a new all-time high this cycle, that would be super bullish, I think, long term for like privacy coins and just freedom overall. Because look, January 9th, 2018, over 7 years ago, was the high on Monero, $542.33. It's still down 40.5%. But I think that this has a real shot of actually making a new high this cycle, which would be crazy since we're over 7 years now since that high. So that would be pretty cool to watch Monero make a new high. I'd love to see that. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance here real quick before we get off here. I don't know if you guys can hear those. Actually, one other thing I want to mention while we're on here. We'll look at Bitcoin dominance in a second. We can see, what happened is they brought this down. We can look at where we were, I guess. We'll look at the max. So at the end of 2024, we went up and touched or almost touched $4 trillion market cap. This is another example of I think this data is just a little bit off. It depends where you get your data. I think we actually touched it, 3.8 trillion, 88 trillion on here. I think by some accounts we actually did touch it. Nonetheless, we saw a massive sell-off. What is that? 40%, something like that, for the aggregate crypto market cap. And we basically like blew past last cycle's high on total aggregate market cap, which was 3.1 trillion. So losing that level was like, that's why people were so scared, I think, which is honestly there's justification, or it's justified that people were so worried. Losing that level by about $500 billion was insane. Some of those sell-offs were massive. But as you can see, we're going back up here, and now we've regained that level at 3.1 trillion, and we're back at 3.5 trillion, nearly at 3.459 trillion-dollar aggregate crypto market cap. But here's the real story, I think, for people that are not highly invested in Bitcoin or like to speculate or invest more on altcoins. Bitcoin dominance. And you could see this last cycle. We see the depths of the bear market. Let's see where we go. We go back to 38.56% in 2017. Okay, that is like where is that where the bull market ended? Yeah. And then we go back and we run and we see Bitcoin dominance. Watch this. Bitcoin dominance is the bottom one here. So we watch it rise from, yeah. So it's 38.56%. We watch it climb all the way through 2018, 2019. 2018 was the top in alts. So we bottom a year later, and it starts climbing up. Okay, you can see it right here. It's on the bottom of this chart, and we see it climb all the way up to 60. Where's the top? 67%. 67%. It looks like was the top, which is crazy. 68.31%, if this is accurate. I believe I put out a tweet back then that was probably the top. And then this week we saw almost the same exact thing happen. 66, 67, I believe, percent was the top. So let's go back to this bear market. It happened again. We peaked out, crypto topped in 2021, and we made a bottom. And it was at 39.47% on this chart, it looks like. And it starts to gradually gain momentum again. It's insane. 37, and then it went parabolic. It's like ETH went to proof of work or proof of stake, and that chart just got destroyed. But here comes the move right here. As we start into 2023, it just went straight up. And now we saw it get all the way up to 66% again. I don't think it's accounting for that data on here yet for some reason. Didn't quite get there. But yeah, it did hit 66%. And now we've reversed course, and we're back under 60%. So my theory, I guess, here, the point of that, sharing that is, if you are waiting on alt season, I think it's here. And that's not financial advice, as I noted, but let's say a decent number of people start to take profits. I was thinking about this the other day. A decent number of people start to take profits, and that percentage of money flows into Bitcoin. Let's just call it $500 billion. Okay. And then we'll say $500 billion. People take $500 billion worth of profits along the way. Some point. Some people are chipping as we go, I'm sure already. People that bought at 15,550 or 15.5 are probably already taking profits. So, which if you were already taking if you were DCAing back then, good on you. I was here. A lot of us were here. But so let's say 500 billion flows into from Bitcoin into altcoins, and you know that not all that or 500 billion is people take 500 billion in profits off the table on Bitcoin. Let's just say 200. Let's say 50% of that flows into Austin. So you got 250 billion looking for a new home. That's going to be a massive, massive move for these. I know that people talk about the oversaturation of crypto right now and how many coins there are. There's 100,000 coins or whatever, but most of that's going to flow. Most of the people that have significant money in crypto are not gambling on Solana pump coins. Okay, they're probably in top. You can still see the top coins. The market cap on these coins is still massive. Like look at Ethereum, 304 billion. Ethereum could still easily double or triple from here. My target this cycle on Ethereum, which I've been off so far, I'll be honest, was 7,500. I thought it could get there. A lot of people were calling for five figures. I didn't see it happening because I think a lot of that market share is going to Solana, near other layer ones that are scaling, where the economic activity makes sense. But even like Avalanche, it's a $10 billion market cap. So these things, I think these things are about to get a big move. I think near still could have a 7 to 10x on it. Conservatively, 7x. But yeah, so say 250 billion of that money flows into alts. Okay, and what about the new money coming in? The dumb money. Sorry for anybody who's just showing up, but the dumb money, yeah, fart and Titcoin or whatever you want to call it. Okay, what about that dumb money that is showing up late to the game? There's hundreds of billions of dollars going to show up late to the game. We're talking about adding my target. If you look at the charts, I still have a $7 trillion target. My target before this cycle was 7 trillion. I already told you guys that 3.1 trillion was the top of last cycle. So 7T is like what 20% or whatever it is. It's not even that high from last cycle's top. So I think that there's a lot of potential for major moves. I think we're going to go parabolic. I think we're in the midst of the beginning of the parabolic move again. So we'll see. We'll see if we have like some if Bitcoin goes up and tests 108 first, gets rejected, we go back down to 99K or 100K and do it again. Do some sort of washout before we really go parabolic and break all-time high. But right now, it feels like the momentum is really going to take us past that level and maybe up into 120Ks, 120K plus. And then alts probably by the end of summer are trading at or where they were on the local high that we saw last year. Before this year's pretty much been down only on most altcoins. It was like 5 months of accumulation and consolidation on alts. So, but yeah, I just wanted to do a quick stream here. Shout out to Walter for being in the chat. But if you guys have any questions, feel free. Walter, what are you looking at? You looking at anything in particular? You all in Fartcoin? Fartcoin's your play this cycle or what? Tao's interesting too. I mean, I haven't spent a ton of time on Tao, but it's up over 100%, 103% for the last 30 days. And then one last thing I want to mention here. I had I think AI is still a massive play, or I think AI is still going to be a massive narrative this cycle. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. I had the opportunity, if you haven't watched this yet, to interview Humayan Sheikh from Fetch.ai a month ago. And man, some interesting stuff going on with the intersection, where the intersection of AI and crypto meet. So if you haven't, yeah, Walter, if you haven't gotten a chance to watch that yet, check it out. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not on here. I appreciate everybody that stopped out. Like I said, I don't do these very often, but I'm gonna try to get more in the habit of doing these. I need to get some software set up for the live streams, so you guys can't see my messy office right now. But yeah, just happy that this, it feels good to see this turning back around. Yeah, but I think, yeah, Walter, you're looking at BTC. Yeah, you're just buying BTC. Are you maxi now? Are you all in on on Bitcoin? Walter, I wish you were in the Patreon group with us, the Telegram. We're in the Telegram group every day. Super active. I know you got some good insights as well. But yeah, guys, I'm going to maybe I'll pop back on later. I want to mess with some software and stuff. I want to make this. It's funny. I've got how many videos? I've been making content for like years. I got 438 static videos on here, but I never go live, so I need to like mess around with the software a little bit. BTC, LTC. Yeah, I thought you were still in the Monero, probably. Yeah, Litecoin's still battle tested horse. Where's it at? Let's look at it real quick. Yeah, it's still about 75% down from the all-time high though. It hasn't performed too well. It's like slow and steady. If you're using it for cash, like or a medium of exchange, excuse me, it's not. It's one of the best though. You know what I mean? You can trust. I don't think it's going anywhere. It's just it's not super. It's not flashy. Just kind of does the job. Really, kind of like Bitcoin. I think what Litecoin launched in 2011. I think I was one of the first people in the Litecoin network. Also, what year did Litecoin launch? 2011 or 2012? Where's it at? Yeah, October 2011. Man, I remember when Litecoin was just getting off the ground. Back then, people were like, nobody knew. It was like, is Litecoin going to be the Bitcoin? Is it going to be the actual Bitcoin? And it became kind of like a test net for Bitcoin, but you don't really hear about it anymore like that. I don't know if they're still really trying to market Litecoin like that or not. But yeah, near up 14.05% today. All right, guys. Water. Yeah, LTC's that's one thing about LTC. It's there's a lot of data. It's been around, like I said, now for 14 years or 13, 14 years. So in the way it trades is like pretty predictable. It trades a lot like Bitcoin. So you can kind of like it's good for a trader. I agree with that. Yeah, for sure. What's the next target on Litecoin? Is it 118 or something? I haven't looked at the Litecoin chart lately. It looks like this isn't my chart, by the way. It looks like I'm not too far off. About $127 would be like a. This is the futures. Would be a full breakout on the daily. This is the Bitcoin denomination. Yeah. Where are you at? Yeah. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. I appreciate Walter. It was my loan. Yeah, 112, 131. Profit taking levels on the way up. That makes sense. I think yeah, somewhere around 120 would make sense as like a conservative if you were just trading it, not holding it long term, or trying to like maximize your average on the way out. Walter, good to see you, my friend. I appreciate you stopping out. Pop back in if you see me go live again. I appreciate you showing up here. Hopefully, I'm doing some more of these. We're tapping on 104,000 BTC as we speak too. So maybe I can get this software up, make it a little more professional. Near 3:30, cooking, absolutely cooking, and we'll go live again tonight. All right, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody else who watches this in the future. Let's make some money, and everybody have a good evening if I don't go live again. Peace.